for example, in an online game, the interfaces changes a little bit. So for example, you must have heard of TCP, UDP, stuff like that, right? Then deciding which protocol I want to use inside the game. How can I write algorithms so that the data transfer is minimum, so that I get maximum performance? There shouldn't be any lag, right? How many of you have played Counter-Strike? Right, almost all of you have played. And the main strength of Counter-Strike is the support for that. Makes it incredibly fun to play when you're playing it against someone. Right? So there are like, how many players can it support? 16 players at once, 8 plus 8? 32 it can support?
No, a lot more.
By default 32, by modding 64.
So let's assume that there are 64 players, right? So there are 64 computers. You can see everybody is interacting with each other, right? And everything is fluid, right? There's no lag. Everybody, when you hit, right? On one screen you have fired a gun. It's not going to happen that if I have moved from the other screen, it's not going to hit. Usually goes and hits the dead. Right? So real-time criticality is very, very important in this case. Okay. Then there is, I think that's pretty much covers the broad thing. There are also a lot of subdivisions that happens apart from these three main things, which I think will be out of scope. You don't need to like specialize in those small things, but you can. So we have seen people who actually specializes in maybe one of them. So there will be someone who is like a graphics programmer for his entire life, and there are people who knows everything. They are usually called as journalist programmers. And there are people we have seen who is also called an engine programmer, for example. In India, if you will look for the kind of opportunities that are there in engine programming, is very less actually, because the industry is picking up very recently. So I haven't seen and I don't find any company maybe there are few, but very few companies who are writing their own engine. So the number of opportunities that are there from an engine programming perspective is quite less. Then there is gameplay, in which we have AI programming. Everybody knows what an AI is. Artificial intelligence. So, in many games, when you play against a computer, then there is a reaction that a computer usually has, which is very similar to like how the humans react. For example, again consider an example of Counter-Strike. You can also play it in single player mode, right? So one of the things that AI programmers do is pathfinding algorithms, for example. So they write algorithms which allows them to create algorithms which give you optimized paths to a target, for example. There is a path that you can follow like this, there is something you can do this, there is something you can do this. So algorithms written on top of it is besides that. So pathfinding algorithm. So that's why there is a very thin line between AI programmer being an engine as well as in gameplay. Right? In India, we scope for gameplay programming. Even if you are using a third-party engine, so for example Unity, you will mostly be a gameplay programmer. You will create games using all the tools that are provided by the engine. Right? Also, in Unity, we have also used Unity in a couple of instances. The good thing about that engine is it also allows you to upgrade a couple of stuff. You can write custom code. For example, what we did was, we didn't like the physics engine that was provided by Unity. So So we wrote ours and we integrated it here. Right? But that's a very rare case. So huge opportunities for gameplay programmers in India. So that is something that you can look forward to. In our company, we actually have both of these kind of guys working as of now. UI is pretty straightforward. There is going to be UI programming. So for example, press a button and then there are some flashy animations that plays like this views come, this goes away. Right? Have you ever played Dead Space? Any of you guys? Right? So it has a 3D menu. Right? So an UI programmer will actually write code for that. Huge scope in UI also. UI is like the backbone of any game. If the user can't get inside the game properly, it will give up. Right? There's a very small window, especially in tablets and smartphone market. There is a very small window that you have to impress the user. And the first thing that a user is going to see is UI of the game. Right? So this is something on which a lot of companies give a lot of focus. For example, Apple is like entirely dependent on UI. Apple is actually defined by the kind of user interfaces that we create. So very, very important. Any questions here? Before we move on to the next thing. All clear?